And now Paula Owen, who is El Presidente. Prior to becoming the president of the Southwest School of Art back in 1996, Paula Owen was director of the Visual Arts Center of Richmond, Virginia, and also held positions in business as well as education. She holds an MFA degree, is a published arts writer, has organized scores of exhibitions and symposia. That's the plural of symposium for those of you. Anyway, I had to look it up. Symposia. And has served on national boards and panels. She is a practicing artist with work in different public and private collections. Please give it up for Paula Owen!
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Right up until this very moment, I thought this was going to be fun. But Gary Sweeney said he'd come up and do it for me if I needed him, so we've got that as a backup. I grew up in Iowa, but clearly I was destined for Texas. Land of the pioneer, the maverick, the hustler, the wildcatter, the entrepreneur. And when I finally got here, I had no intention of being all hat. But when Janet Floor, chairman of my board, and I announced that the Southwest School of Art would start a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree program, a number of people said to me, "You can do that?" It surprised me because I had always been motivated by challenges. Probably because of having had polio, which struck my mother and me and almost 60,000 others in the epidemic of the 1950s. We were hospitalized and went through grueling therapy. Though I got better and she improved somewhat, she was disabled for the rest of her life, and I had to help care for her and my siblings. Experience taught me that determination pays off. And fortunately, I also got a lot of love, a wonderful education, immersion in the arts, and a number of extraordinary experiences. I got to experience a completely new culture on a tiny island in the middle of the Mediterranean when my father became a Fulbright professor at the University of Malta, where I also attended as a student. I got to go on an archaeological dig in Panama during a military coup. And as the illustrator and cook, I traveled to town for supplies through checkpoints manned by soldiers with AK-47s. However, when I graduated from college, a long time ago, as you can see by the photo, 70% of married women did not work outside the home. And in my very first job interview, I was asked, "What kind of birth control do you use?" It was relatively unusual to combine motherhood and professional pursuits at that time. But I enjoyed my kids. I started a graphic design business and happily worked long hours in my studio. Later, I returned to graduate school for my MFA degree at Virginia Commonwealth University, driving across country in the winter with my work table tied to the top of my old station wagon. There I learned to love the demands and rewards of a creative life, the hard work, the risk-taking, the setbacks. They honed my innate and prevailing attitude of who says and what if. I found myself among kindred spirits where my natural inclination to damn the torpedoes, as my grandfather often said about me, was not only affirmed, but a self-imposed requirement. When I became the director of an art center in Richmond, Virginia, however, I needed a much more nuanced approach and was compelled to learn the skills of persuasion, analysis, and collaboration. Nice hair. This was in the thick of the culture wars when art itself was under attack, and Jane Alexander, the new National Endowment for the Arts chairman, visited my inner city art center to demonstrate her support. When I was asked to interview for my current position in San Antonio, I called the only person I knew here, an established artist, and she said to me, "Don't do it. That place is too inflexible and territorial." But I couldn't resist the challenge and the possibilities, though I almost resigned in the first couple of weeks. Soon after, though, we expanded the programs and opened the Navarro campus. My passion was and is driven by a conviction that artists are essential in a healthy society, often being agents of social change, and they routinely articulate bold and complicated and important ideas. While artists are often leaders and in the forefront of issues, with equally passionate partners, advocates, and supporters from all sectors, they are able to propel ideas forward to make a real difference. One of those supporters, when we announced the new BFA degree program, asked me if I'd ever been whitewater rafting. Luckily, I had, and knew the exhilaration and the panic he was referring to. And last year, we welcomed the first students in the degree program, making the Southwest School of Art the only independent college of art in Texas, and answering the question, you can do that?
Good. Very good. Awesome. Now, I have a couple of questions from the older San Antonians' point of view, and also as a former neighbor. Channel 4 is right over there, the empty building is still over there. And you guys have grown, obviously, with the Navarro campus, and I know there are plans in the works to grow more. Where are you in those plans, that vision that you had, in terms of like parking and things like that? Am I correct?
Well, we own the block.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm asking.
Well, we own the block across Navarro, flanked by St. Mary's and Richmond and Augusta. So that will be the site of future expansion and possible parking garage, structured parking garage, so that we can build on what is currently the parking lot on the historic campus.
And how far down the road is that in the vision there?
It may be in our lifetimes.
I was just wondering, because our building's still empty, and you could maybe, you don't know?
You know?
Because the Tobin Center, what's going to be the connection, if there is one, to the Tobin Center? Because that would be an awesome thing.
You know, I think there's already a connection. That whole neighborhood is turning around, and it's a very vibrant arts area with the Museum Reach and the Tobin and the Central Library and the Southwest School of Art and Art Pace. I think we can look forward to a very vibrant future in that neighborhood.
Cool. And how about the enrollment right now, where it is as it starts with this program, and then where you hope to see it down the road?
Our enrollment in the degree program is relatively small now because we're intentionally keeping it small for the first 4 years, but you know, we have 4,000 students on campus in the adult studio programs and the young artist programs, and then we serve another 5,000 children out in the low-income schools and social service agencies in the city.
Well, thank you very much. Paula, Owen! Appreciate it. I just wanted to ask about that.